if y'all are joking or if y'all are really serious about being mad at Boosie saying that he didn't want the sisters going to his party topless.
Just a few days ago, Boosie Badass found himself at the center of another controversy. He posted, "Sorry, no trans people allowed at the topless pool party, 100." He went on to say that security would be watching for Adam's apples, pronounced facial features, and larger hands. Then he claimed he had already tried to be respectful. He even added, "I said miss," before following it up with whatever the hell that means. And if you've been following Boosie for a while, you already know this kind of headline isn't exactly shocking. He has repeatedly voiced criticism toward members of the LGBTQ community, and once again, those comments have sparked a major reaction online.
Protect women. We gotta protect women.
What if they're in the sport, they identify as a woman?
And they identify as a woman.
Yeah.
It's over with. We don't even need to talk, because I'm gonna get mad.
You're
I'm gonna get mad. I don't know what I might say. But real shit. Women don't want to see nuts in Planet Fitness.
As you can see, this isn't some random one-time incident. Boosie has been making comments like these for quite a while now. Because of that, he often found himself facing intense backlash from critics and people online. And when the criticism started piling up, he would usually jump on video and respond directly to the controversy.
Everybody going nuts about me not wanting at my party. It's the same thing if they say no alcohol in the building. Whatever we checking for, it's the same thing as people saying, you gotta bring clear bag. It's the same thing when you go in a restaurant and they say, no rips in the jeans, no hats on. These people own this establishment and there's certain things they don't go for. It's the same thing. But now you wanna say you're gay. You wanna bully people. Y'all fought for gay rights for 20, 30 years. We said nothing. Maybe we should fight for straight rights. You can't even go against it. If you're not with it, you can't even go against it. Y'all get that offensive. I got real players, real bosses. I mean, football people, NBA people, attorneys, rappers, you know, that's my establishment. If I'm not going for it, I'm not going for it. Simple as that. I don't want nobody licked and tricked. You know, I'm protecting people. I'm protecting a lot of people's reputation. And it's my establishment. Just like when you go to certain restaurants and you can't wear ripped jeans. When you own something, you have the right to set the rules of your establishment. Same thing if you go and see somebody in a prison. Certain clothes you can't wear. Certain things you can't do. This world is out of control. It's sad.
Now, in the middle of all this, Boosie brought up a point that caught my attention and is worth discussing. And this is where the conversation starts to get a little more complicated. Even though society has become far more accepting of the transgender and gay communities in many areas, he touched on an issue that some people continue to debate. He argued that certain individuals within the transgender community believe they should have access to the same spaces and events as cisgender women. Or, to put it another way, they feel there should be no distinction in how they are treated in those situations. I'm choosing my words carefully here because these conversations can get sensitive very quickly. The argument, essentially, is that a transgender woman sees herself as equally a woman and therefore may not feel obligated to disclose that she is transgender in social settings. From that perspective, if they attend a birthday party, gathering, or private event, they may believe that information is personal and doesn't need to be announced. The reasoning is that they view themselves no differently than someone who was born female. And that's where the disagreement between different viewpoints often begins. Let's say, for example, someone attends one of these events and the guests include celebrities, wealthy individuals, and successful people from various industries. They mingle, have conversations, and perhaps exchange contact information without knowing every detail about each other's personal backgrounds. In Boosie's view, situations like that can create complications later if important information comes out after the fact. His concern is based on cases where accusations or personal claims have later been made publicly, creating controversy and putting reputations at risk. We've seen examples over the years where public figures were suddenly dragged into headlines because of allegations that spread online. One of the names often mentioned in these discussions is Chingy. In that situation, a photo and subsequent claims created a major controversy that many believe negatively affected his career. Later, the allegations were publicly disputed and an apology followed, but by that point, many people felt the damage to his public image had already been done. And that's the part supporters of Boosie's argument focus on most. They believe situations like these can place someone in a difficult position and create consequences that are hard to reverse. Once public perception shifts, recovering from it can become an uphill battle. That's why some people view these scenarios as unfair and potentially harmful. I can understand why that concern resonates with certain audiences, even if others strongly disagree with the conclusion. And of course, there are many people who would immediately push back against that argument and see the situation very differently.
People, if he got such a problem with men wearing nail polish, if he got such a problem with trans women being his pool party, which I don't know about anybody else, but I don't know those trans women who trying to check for Boosie and go to his pool party, being honest.
Now, this is another angle to the story that a lot of people have been bringing up. The question being asked is simple. Why does Boosie seem to keep circling back to topics involving the gay community? When I really think about it, if I were hosting a private party myself, would I feel the need to publicly announce who can or can't attend based on that? Honestly, probably not. For the most part, I'm not regularly involved in those circles, so it's not something that would even cross my mind as a major concern. Maybe some people would argue that things are different today, but that's a separate conversation altogether. The critics, however, see it differently and believe Boosie keeps bringing up these subjects because they generate attention. Their argument is that discussions involving the LGBTQ community often create controversy, spark reactions, and drive engagement online. And some of them have gone even further, saying he's using the topic for clicks and views, while joking that most people weren't planning on showing up to the party in the first place.
What me up is, for somebody that hates us, I have never in my life seen somebody more obsessed with the gay community. This thinks about gay men more than I think about gay men. This thinks about trans women more than anybody else. And I don't get it. Why? Because ain't nobody checking for you. I personally don't know any natural-born woman that would be checking for this that's in their right mind.
And honestly, this is where the conversation starts getting a lot more complicated. You can really look at Boosie's comments from two completely different angles. On one hand, there are people who believe he keeps bringing up these topics because controversy drives attention. And to some extent, I can understand why people come to that conclusion. But on the other hand, there's also a group of people who feel they're constantly being pressured into accepting situations that, in their view, could negatively affect their personal lives or reputations. While the LGBTQ community has undoubtedly gained more visibility and acceptance over the years, there are still certain viewpoints that remain deeply rooted in different cultures and social circles. And whether people like it or not, those perspectives haven't disappeared. When you start talking about hip-hop culture, street culture, and certain parts of the Black community, the reality is that attitudes towards transgender relationships and LGBTQ issues can be very different from what you might see in other spaces. For many people in those environments, the social expectations haven't really changed all that much. Because of that, some individuals genuinely worry about being placed in situations they didn't fully understand or agree to. Their argument is simple. They don't want to feel misled, especially if they believe their reputation could suffer afterward. And whether you agree with that concern or not, it's a viewpoint that clearly exists. I've seen countless discussions online where people debate situations involving disclosure, dating, and personal boundaries. Not every story is the same, but these conversations continue to spark strong reactions from all sides. There have also been public controversies involving influencers, models, and social media personalities, where disputes later emerged about what information was or wasn't disclosed beforehand. In some cases, people claim they didn't know certain details until much later, which then led to public arguments and online backlash. Unfortunately, situations like that can sometimes escalate beyond social media and turn into real-world conflicts. We've seen reports over the years where misunderstandings, anger, or feelings of betrayal led to serious altercations and even tragic outcomes. That's why many people argue this topic carries a lot more nuance than what can fit into a viral headline or a quick social media post. At the same time, there are plenty of others who strongly disagree with Boosie's position and view his comments as offensive or unnecessarily divisive. That's what makes this debate so polarizing. And here's the part that I think gets overlooked. A lot of people may privately share some of Boosie's concerns, but choose not to voice them publicly because they're worried about backlash, criticism, or professional consequences. Depending on where you live or work, certain opinions can carry significant social costs. Whether it's California, New York, Washington, or any other place with strong LGBTQ protections and advocacy, many people simply avoid these conversations altogether, and that's their choice. But at the same time, personal preferences are something most people believe they're entitled to have. If someone says they aren't interested in pursuing a romantic relationship with a transgender person, many would argue that's no different than any other personal dating preference. Now, I know some people will disagree with that comparison, and that's completely fair. These issues aren't always black and white. At the same time, I can understand why many people find Boosie's delivery harsh, disrespectful, or even offensive. The criticism isn't always about the point being made. Sometimes it's about how the point is communicated. Because when you strip everything else away, the message he's sending is essentially that certain people are not welcome in particular spaces, and that's naturally going to upset a lot of people. But here's what keeps standing out to me. If you've already made your position clear multiple times, why keep returning to the exact same topic? That's the part that raises questions for me. We already know where he stands. The audience knows where he stands. At some point, you start wondering why the conversation keeps getting restarted year after year after year. Maybe that's what makes this whole thing feel a little strange. So now I want to hear from you.